So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first ever Green Room, hosted by your grateful partners in service here, Guest Service Solutions. We are thrilled that you, our VIPs, chose to join us today. We feel so supported by all of you, and we just can't wait for the opportunity to hopefully inspire you in some small way and, in turn, have that turn into an experience for your guests. I'm Erica Cayley. Most of you know me, but some of you don't. So I'll introduce you a little bit. I'm the president of Guest Service Solutions here. I've been in the hospitality industry for 22 years. I can't believe it. 13 of those are with Central Reservations, and I say that because we do have quite a few people with us today that are in the Central Reservations world, although a lot of you know that that is not all that we do, but there were just so many of you we had to say that. You know our mission here at Guest Service Solutions is to be of service every day in every way, so get ready. I think you're going to have a fun time. You know that we also offer full resort season kickoff programs, a lot of guest service training workshops having to do with guest engagement, guest service recovery, remembering names, active listening, sales training, train-the-trainer programs, mystery shopping inspections, performance standards development. That's really what we specialize in. So I think that's important to note because the Green Room was really founded as a result of the network that we have. A lot of you are also part of that. Ironically, we've discovered that many of you have really no live opportunity to discuss advancing the art of guest service. Yet all of your organizations do agree on its importance. You don't always have the time or resources to go to a networking event or, a speaking engagement or conference like MTS. And sometimes social media just doesn't cut it, does it? So we really felt like it was our duty to create some sort of a living, breathing network that was really committed to just that mission in and of itself. So enough talk. Let's get moving here. We are all about inspiring you to help you reach your fullest potential through strengthening that guest and employee engagement. We serve over 100 organizations worldwide throughout our career here, and we love to help create guest experiences that embody the brand, that raise the level of service. So if you're a 4-star property today, you could be a 5-star property in the future. Ensuring that we have alignment behind goals from everybody in the organization. So everyone is talking the same talk and providing the same level of guest service, treating guests in a way that they didn't even know that they wanted to be treated. So hopefully this Green Room experience is one that you share with others, that you walk away and say, that was great. I really got a lot out of that in a really short period of time. And you have something that you can be talking about later on. I think also as you'll notice, this is also geared toward hopefully widening your professional network a little bit. So you're going to experience a little Q&A today. You're going to gain a few new tools and maybe a refresher on some tools that you already had. Hopefully get some answers to some of those burning questions. And boy, you gave us a lot of burning questions. We can't get to all of them, but rest assured, if you do not hear an answer to your question, I will make sure that I'm personally following up with you offline to be answering some of them. So we encourage you to listen with a very keen ear, as answers to most of them will lie within this meaty conversation we have today with Ms. Maureen McNamara, who I'll introduce to you in just a moment. So I want you to think about this today. Customers don't expect you to be perfect. They do expect you to fix things when they go wrong. On our Facebook page, we just posted, I think it was 40 inspiring quotes about customer service, and this was one of them that really struck me just yesterday. If you're not Facebook friends with us, please become Facebook friends. Christy, our project coordinator, who is actually right behind me right now in our office, she does a fantastic job of inspiring us every week with a few little tips and tricks and ideas on how we strengthen guest engagement. So get on it if you're not. They don't expect you to be perfect. They do expect you to fix things when they go wrong. So our tip of the day, our training tip today is remembering our guest service recovery model. React, respond, recover, plus 1. Some of you might remember this. Some of you might have experienced this in the past. The react, respond, recover +1 model is one that I think really helps to put in perspective all of the different pieces of a great guest service recovery. We're choosing this as our topic today because it is something that we all are affected by in some way, shape, or form. And it also helps to really put in perspective why we're speaking with Maureen today and what juicy tips she's going to share with you. React. That means that we immediately give our guests some power in this particular situation, if it's a complaint or an issue, through an emotional connection. We respond. We give some facts and information. We get some facts and information. We don't over-inform the guest. And then we recover. So we fix that problem. We come up with a solution that is viable, that is maybe full of choices. Also, we can provide those choices quite often, and sometimes the choice may not be a perfect solution, but it's an option. And our guests love choices, don't they? +1, that means that we walk away from that experience giving them a little something extra that they weren't expecting. And that, I believe, we believe here at Guest Service Solutions, is the hallmark of a true world-class organization. Raise your hand. You might see your little hand there. Raise your hand if you're familiar with react, respond, recover, +1. Maureen is. Our Pinehurst Christy is. Good. Well, I'm going to ask Team Pinehurst to come on board with us and tell us. Good morning, gentlemen. I don't know.
Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So tell us about this react, respond, recover +1. How has it served you in the front office guest services environment at Pinehurst?
We've seen a positive reaction throughout, both with our employee partners, but also from our guests. It gives our employees more confidence. They feel like they're empowered to make decisions and to make our guest experiences more positive. And then in turn, obviously, it creates a resolution for the guests, but also provides them with some positive feedback post-stay and hopefully returning in the future as well.
I love it. And I hear about these +1s all over the place. I'm always getting emails from your director of food and beverage saying, here's a +1. We sent a bottle of wine up to these guests and they were thrilled. So we see that it's in action, it's happening, and it is a game changer in so many ways, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that from the streets, from the resort, so to speak. We appreciate that. So allow me, please, to introduce, without further ado, Maureen McNamara. Fate brought us together, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Maureen. It was 10 years ago. And
that's crazy. Yes.
It was love at first chat, I have to say. Maureen is interactive, engaging, inspirational, funny, smart, and magnetic. And those are merely just a few of the words that I would immediately use to describe my dear friend. Many puppies, babies, moves, and team-ups later, including projects at Canyon Ranch in Tucson, the Little Nell, Hotel Jerome, and Big Sky Resort. She is still an inspiration to me. I am so grateful to share her with you today. Maureen is one of our favorite facilitators, speakers, and coaches here. She brings decades of training experience, providing hundreds of workshops to diverse groups of participants, from entry-level employees all the way to executive management. What she does best for us here really is workshops on great guest service, presenting with impact. She is a train-the-trainer master, guest service recovery, and my favorite, which is direct management coaching and executive coaching. When she isn't creating service transformations here with us, she's a co-pilot to hundreds on the fast track to joy-filled living and accountability, including myself, through her passion her baby, Let Go Live Now. So check it out. Go online. Check out Let Go Live Now today. It's fantastic. So we're bringing Maureen in. Oh, of course. Yes. So did I miss anything when I'm introducing you to this?
That covers our sweet time together, changing the world, creating more ease for our clients. Yes.
Good. I'm glad. So, I keep thinking back a couple of years ago, we both attended this forum kind of around the same time. And we were talking at that time about perceptions and stories. And it was probably a very old thing to you, but it was kind of a new thing to me. And I thought about perceptions and stories for a long time and kind of how that related to the way we all sometimes tend to sabotage providing great guest service, sometimes because of our own limits or the own stories that we create around the situation. Do you remember that time?
Right, I do. And it's fascinating. We do have these stories or these sabotaging moments where we restrain or restrict ourselves in some way. And it's fabulous once we can realize that stories are stories. And perceptions may not be real fact, statistic, but they feel real. And one of the things that I like about this conversation, and I think you have already said it at least once, is that when our guests have a perception or a story about something, that is what's real in the moment. Mm-hmm. That's what's real for them. And the quote that you had up on the slide, it struck me when our clients, our guests may not expect us to be perfect, but they do expect us to fix things when they go wrong. And I would even modify that a bit to say when they think things go wrong, when they perceive that they have been wronged in some way. And there's often a big gap for that. There's what is so and there's what people think. And that's not always the same.
No, it's not. So I think of these times when guests, and put yourself in this perspective right now. This was the worst resort I've ever stayed at in my life. I can't believe that you actually rent that condo to people. It's horrible. Have you ever trained your staff? They are the worst. How many of you have heard maybe some iteration of that? Maybe not that harsh, but something like that. Raise your hand if you've heard something like that. Well, here they go, like wildfire. Dee Dee's like, no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. You're like, I've heard people have had complaints like that, not on our property. It's interesting. Even just for me, Erica, I had this experience. I've been calling a business that I want to set up an appointment with, and I've rang 4 times, and all 4 times no one has answered. So I went to the story of they never answer their phone. That is not true. They simply, as far as I know, haven't answered the phone the 4 times I've called. People go to the extreme. Our guests will throw in the always and the never and the worst. And so I think I would invite us to consider the first tool we would love for you to be aware of is to know that sometimes people are throwing a story at us. Mm. Now the difference is we can see it as a perception and a story, but we get to react as if that is for sure the fact.
Mm-hmm. So how do you differentiate between story and scam? Because I do believe that there are probably quite a few people here that are used to hearing a guest complain, and sometimes they immediately go to the place of, oh, he just wants something for free.
Right. I think we've all had those experiences. And I'll tell you, based on everyone that's listening, I know that you've got some experience in the field. My hunch is your awareness lets you know when somebody is on the shifty scam scene or it's legit. I really wasn't pleased with this meal, or it was undercooked, or the something wasn't working. I have found that when we're really paying attention, we have a knowing. This happened recently. A fellow was in my class, and he said, I got called out to go visit a table, food and beverage, visit some guests at a table, and they were young women in their early 20s, and one of them pulled a Band-Aid out of their food, which is horrifying. I've often taught in my classes, like, good luck, even with all of your fabulous communication skills when somebody pulls a Band-Aid out of a Neil, good luck with that.
Yeah. Oh.
You outsource that recovery too.
Seriously.
And it was interesting. He smiled and he said, I would be honored to buy you lunch. And really, you just had to ask. The truth is, that isn't our Band-Aid. We all wear blue Band-Aids here. And the woman, just her mouth dropped and she was totally busted. And he did just laugh. He was like, it'll be my pleasure to buy you lunch. Feel free to come in again. He knew from the beginning that it was a plant or something. Mm-hmm. So I would invite us. And one of the other things, a skill I would like us to broaden or increase when we are faced with a guest that has a perception or a story. And typically with these, we're thinking a little bit, they might be cranky. There's been some type of upset. Is to really stay in the moment. And when we do, we get insight, we get information, or our awareness allows us to kind of see what's really happening. And that allows us to more easily sniff out the scam action.
Yeah. So if you have a guest that is saying, the way you described ski access whenever I talk to your reservation agent was not at all what I actually got. And this is ridiculous. I can't believe this. I spent so much time, right? The frustration, it's building. So staying in the moment to listen for that when has to happen.
Right.
How?
Right. It's interesting. When people are complaining, and let's go right back to the formula that you shared. Mm-hmm. And I know the gentleman Pinehurst has certainly been playing with this. And if this is new information for you, I encourage you. I know Eric and I both lead this program, and we can get you some more details if you desire or join us. But the first thing when somebody is complaining like that is we have a tendency to take it personally. Oh my gosh, and who was it, and who at the reservation said that, and why are they, we might go to, was it somebody on my team that needs corrective coaching, or, we're dealing with an upset or an angry person. And so in the moment, sometimes our defenses come up, or we want to go to who on my team, and we take it personally. I invite you to not take it personally. Do not take it personally. And I know that this sometimes can be a challenge because we take so much pride in our properties, with our team, with making sure we're giving an accurate picture so our guests will be more than delighted when they arrive on property. So in the moment, we have to do our best to not take it personally. And one of the ways to do that is to remain really curious. When we're with this person, we might want to listen to respond. We might want to listen to solve. But in this moment, our only job is to listen for the win, not to respond, not to whatever it is, but really allow that person to feel heard. Now, what happens when we tend to take something personally, our defenses go up. You might even see this, a shift in our posture. We want to defend ourselves, our property, our reservation team, whatever it may be. Stop. Allow your posture to be open, non-defensive. And your only job is to listen.
So you're saying fixing things is not always just, fixing things is not solving things often. I'm hearing a distinction.
I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely, I'm going to assume that everyone listening knows how to fix something, knows how to recover, if you will. And sometimes that's a solution that we as a guest service providers can create for the guest, or the guest lets us know. We can simply ask the guest, what can we do to make this right? And allow them to dictate what's required. So I'm going to assume that we know how to fix things. But what the often missed step when somebody is tossing a perspective, a story, or some type of cranky moment at us is that reaction. Are we allowing that person to feel heard and understood?
I think people are afraid to do that because they're afraid to give up the power. Right? I think oftentimes guest service professionals think, well, never let them see you sweat, right? Because if you do, then you're giving up your power in that situation. But I think what I'm hearing you say is, no, give it to them, because you become more powerful when you let them have the power that they're asking for.
It's interesting that what's coming to mind, and maybe some of you have heard things like this before, is that Tai Chi-esque response, where, again, it's human nature. You think about any of your personal or even professional relationships. When somebody gets barky with you, it's human nature to bark back, and maybe bark just a little bit louder, and then all of a sudden we're in this escalating situation. When we choose to remain calm and curious with the perception or story that people are tossing our way, it allows some of the fire to dissipate from their fight.
Mm.
When a guest doesn't have somebody fighting back with them, and I know that none of us literally fight back with our guests, but it's just even that, for lack of a better word, that energetic escalation or exchange. And so it's important for us to stay in that calm, curious place. And when we do, people are much less likely to escalate before we get to the solution.
I love it. I love this idea of dropping stories, being calm, curious, allowing them to have that. I think it's fantastic. It is so hard to do, but it's also a critical piece of advancing the art of guest service. So I so very much appreciate your perspective here. I wanted to open it up to anyone perhaps here that's joining us today that might have a question or have a comment that they want to expand on with regards to getting real with perceptions and stories today. Does anyone have a question or a comment or something to add? Please feel free to raise your hand if you do. Well, this isn't your last chance, so if you do have a hand raised in you somewhere, bring it out. We're open for it. So let's get to Q&A. Oh, here we go. There they are. Hi, Hurst. Good morning.
Good morning, Erica. How you doing?
Well, this is James Malloy from Pinehurst Resort. He is the front office mascot.
They know me now. I was just listening to what you said about sharing emotion, and it just sort of made me think back when we discussed empathy. And I mean, when you're showing empathy, that part of it is sharing the emotional response or reaction of the guest, so they know that you're involved.
That's it. It's not your emotion versus my emotion. It's your emotion is my emotion. I can put that on for a little bit. That's a very powerful thing to give to your guest.
James, it's also one of my favorite tools is before we go into the fixing and the recovery is to cushion people's story or their perception or their crankiness. And for those of you that have played with Erica in the past, you might be familiar with this cushion technique. But it's a statement that allows the person to feel heard, mostly in their emotional part of their story. It's not aligning or agreeing with their experience. It's not disagreeing with their experience. It's simply allowing them to feel heard. Here's an example. I have a client that's joining me for a 7-day event, and she has to leave a day early, and because it's a package, there isn't a credit for her. Now, I wish there was. In fact, I've asked the owner and the other owner, and she was upset, and I could tell. And I emailed her back, and I said, I get it. I never like to hear the word no either. Here's what I've done, and here's what I'm doing. And so she really felt heard when I said, I get it. No one likes to hear the word no, or it's not possible. I am looking into possibilities for you. Here's what I'm hoping will occur. Mm-hmm. And so it's before I go into the fix or the tell her or whatever, or any way, I'm allowing her to feel heard.
Love it. Thank you very much for that. That's a perfect example. Perfect. So let's get this into reality, and this came from Ms. Costa at Copper Mountain Resort. How can I deal with those guests then who threaten to use the internet, i.e. Yelp, i.e. TripAdvisor, i.e. Facebook, whatever, to tell others about their bad experience. Oof.
I know, we've all probably been threatened with that. And when people have this, I'd love for you all to type in if you want, if you take a moment to chat, one, if you've had this experience. But let's look beyond this. What would be going on for somebody to want to do this, to threaten to do this? What do you think is going on if you just peel back a layer, a second layer, a third layer, that would have them yelp it? So if you've got an idea about what's going on behind the scenes, go ahead and chat that into us.
Looks like
Yeah,
Jeff says they're looking for comps. Mm-hmm.
They could be looking for comps. They could be looking for, this is like the worst thing that people could do. I'm going to squeak about this and no one will ever come to your resort. And so the thing I would suggest is to not defend, not go into the posture of like, please don't do that. If that is, this may not be true, but if you operate from the place of, that's okay, I understand that you'll need to do what you need to do, and you may not be saying this, but your being is in the place of, that you will do what you need to do, and you're just staying calm in the moment where this threat doesn't take you off the game, but it allows you to say, I would love for you to leave here feeling good. What's it going to take to have that occur?
Yeah. I think, and the question you always have to ask yourself is, are they right? Are they warranted? Is the issue that they are preparing to squeak about something that that you would empathize with? Is it something that could perhaps be something that we need to own? Robin, you have something to say on that matter.
I do. I think the reality is that in every situation, I think you should have it in the back of your mind. They may not even say it to you, but I think in the back of your mind, you've got to know that if the guest is truly unhappy about the outcome of the situation, it could be any number of different reasons why they're going to write something bad. But the reality is that this is the likely outcome of any bad situation, any situation when the guest is saying they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
That said, so to me, the fact that they vocalize it isn't really any different to if they don't. I mean, I just assume that if the guest is unhappy, that we're going to learn from that, and the consequence might be that they're going to write a bad review. People have written bad reviews about us without talking to us, and that I treat that as, I label that as revenge, that isn't looking for a solution. I think the fact that if they tell you, all they're doing is vocalizing that they're serious about their dissatisfaction. But I don't know that it truly makes us think about the situation seriously, differently. Than we would if we were just trying to work through an issue, whatever it was.
Right.
And
Very good.
and I think it goes back to the, to me it's like this is nothing new. So going back to the issue that you're not happy is, are we listening to the guest? Have we decided that the guest is has a legitimate concern? And then what can we do to compensate for that? And there's any number of different ways. We can think of 1,000 different scenarios right now as to why they would be extremely unhappy, whether it's legitimate or not. What can you do to make sure that they realize that you're most interested in, a happy outcome for them? And
That's
I think,
great.
Actually showing that concern and then following through with it is really the best thing that you can do.
Which is the R in react. Right?
Yes, and that thing that you said, which is so true, is that revenge. And when people feel heard, connected to, appreciated, respected, it is much less likely that there will be that revenge factor. So even if we couldn't recover to their desires, have they felt heard and connected to? And when they do, it's less likely that there's going to be some vicious yelping.
So in the future, back it up a little bit and remember, how did this start? And did they feel heard from the get-go? Because sometimes we can cut these things off at the pass. Boy, Maureen, I think we need more time with this topic, don't you?
It's true. We could talk. We could talk about this for hours.
I know, but we did promise you 30 minutes, and we're going to keep to it. So thanks everybody for your input and feedback. And Maureen, I'm so delighted that you came to chat with us and share your valuable insight with us today. This most likely is going to become a webinar that we're offering, Getting Real with Perception and Stories, a longer, more content-rich webinar. And of course, this is always part of our classroom curriculum also. So if you have never done a classroom workshop with us before, think about it, because this is meaty, real, heart of the matter kind of stuff, and it's super valuable. So in summary for today, Maureen, I am just so grateful for you. Thank you very, very much for being with us today.
I always love partnering with you, and I'm so grateful that you're offering such a sweet place for all of your clients and new clients to come connect that is complimentary, and I love that it's happening every month. So that's a wonderful contribution.
Well, it truly is our pleasure, and I'm just delighted to hear so many voices here today. In closing, think about this. The guest's perception is your reality, no matter how different it may be from yours. Try it on. Try it on. Hey, our next green room is going to be on April 3rd. So first Thursday of next month, April 3rd. And I'm kind of playing with the idea that next webinar is going to be mystery shoppers, friends or foes. So, if you like that idea, let me know. You could even raise your hand right now if you're feeling frisky. But I think mystery shoppers are a really big part of our lives. Robin says, yes, please. Edie says, bring it on, Mama. So I think we could go there maybe next April if we're feeling that, if we're feeling frisky. So in summary, how are you going to interact with us regularly and get some juicy tips between now and 30 days from now? Call us, email us, Facebook with us, Twitter with us, LinkedIn with us, all that stuff. You're going to get juicy stuff all the time from us. Stay connected. I know I'm going to see some of you within the next month or so, and I'm delighted about that. But for those of you that I might not see, I'm going to hope it is soon. So gratefully, we thank all of you for a wonderful day today. Thank you, and I know that we will connect again soon. So thank you, and happy Green Room. Bye now.